Hello everybody. Just wanted to make a video, do a walk around on my 98 Jeep Cherokee I've been building over the years. Just throw out some ideas, things I've done to it. It's far from finished. I'm still working on it and it's a work in progress. But it's been fun and just wanted to show y'all what I've done and hope that there'd be some ideas out there somebody might need or be a good idea for them to do with their own Jeep if they're wanting to get into the off-road scene. The Cherokee's a good one to buy right now. They used to be cheaper. They're still at a decent price, but they're starting to get real expensive. They're gaining in value really fast because there's fewer and fewer of them around. A lot of them don't run. Most of them are in the junk, or not most of them, but a lot of them are in the junkyard now. But anyway, I'm just going to do a walk around, just show you guys what I did to it. We've owned this Jeep since it was about a year and a half, 2 years old, and it was a daily for quite a while. We've let our friends borrow it quite a bit. One of our friends had it for like 4 months. This thing has been all over the country. We've been up to Northwest, down to Southwest, down South Texas, out in the Midwest, in the Southeast. So this thing's got the 4.0 in it. It's probably in my opinion, one of the most reliable engines ever made, especially made by Chrysler. But anyway, yeah, that engine was developed by AMC, I believe. But if I'm wrong, let me know. But here's my Jeep, and I'm just going to do a walk around and let you guys see what all I've done to it. There it is. It's a 98 Jeep Cherokee Classic. And that there is an EAG bumper. I got it off Amazon. I think it's like $695. It's a pretty good price. It shipped in, and it was really easy to take off. This front bumper is easier to work with than the rear bumper, and it was pretty self-explanatory. The instructions in it were pretty good, and I got that Badland winch, and that's a Harbor Freight Special. But for it to be a Harbor Freight Special, that is a very, very good winch. I've had zero issues with it. I've pulled vehicles up hills with it on the trail. I've used it to pull my Supra that I sold. It wasn't running, but I used it to pull it up onto the trailer because it was so low it wouldn't go up the ramps. And it's just been an outstanding winch. I replaced the metal cable on it because I like the synthetic cables. They're easier to work with, and if they break, they're not as dangerous, to bystanders, so. And if you don't have a garage to park it in, I do have a garage. I would recommend, if you get the synthetic cable, get a cover for your winch so that it'll keep the sun and the elements off of it. And that synthetic cable, it'll last a lot longer if you do that. So yeah, that bumper's been awesome. I've had some people online tell me that it's junk, that it's made out of thin, cheap metal. And if you can see, I mean, that's 3/16 or thicker metal. I mean, it's a pretty good bumper. I wheel this Jeep often. I've hit a few things with it, and this bumper has just held up solid. There's a ding right there. I'm gonna stuck my light there, but I mean, it's a good bumper. There's a lot of other ones, Smittybilt, JCR, a lot of other brands make good ones. So you just make your decision there. I thought the looks on this one was really nice, and it just looked good to me, and that's why I bought it. And then I got these LED headlights. These are pretty common. You can get a variety of different styles, and they're pretty cheap. I forget the price of those, but they make a huge difference compared to the old halogens. Whenever I put those in, and then when it got dark, I turned it on, and it was, I mean, a huge difference. So if you haven't done that yet, I recommend it totally. So when I first lifted this, I got a 4.5-inch lift. It's a rough country lift, and I had 33s on it at first, on 18-inch wheels, and it was a pretty good looking Jeep, but if you're going to actively off-road your Jeep, 18-inch wheels with the 33-inch tires, you're kind of taking away performance, because you don't have enough sidewall flex, and it didn't perform well. So I bought these Ion Alloy wheels off of Summit Racing, and then a buddy of mine, he works at a tire distributor. He got me a good deal on these BF Goodwrench KM3 35-inch tires, and he runs those on his Jeep. Several of my friends do too. And branding on any of this stuff is preference, you know. So I do like BF Goodwrench. I keep those on my pickup. We've had 2 sets on our pickup, and it's an 06, and the BFGs have just been a great tire for us. But yeah, the rough country lift under here. Also, I did the CavFab steering upgrade, if you can see it here. Yeah, it's got the Heim joints. The downfall about the Heim joints is every now and then they'll squeak and creak, you know, so I just lube them up every now and again, and it'll eliminate that. But overall, that they are really, really strong. CavFab makes a good product, and I had one issue with them. It took them forever to ship the product to me, but I think they were having some really bad supply issues. You know, that's been happening, been hurting a lot of businesses lately, so I didn't blame them. They do make a good product, and some of these things I'll drop a link in the description box if you all want to look at them and make a choice. And this here are the Rusty's rock slides. I bought these. They are very well built, very thick metal. I thought they looked really good. The fitment was really good. The installation on these are, yeah, I don't know if you could see that, but you have to drill into the unibody and then also into the pinch seams up there with those little screws there. So I had to buy I didn't have one, but I had to buy a drill that had an angle head on it so that I could drill the holes out to be able to get to the get the bolts through there. But other than that, if you just make your measurements and be precise with following the instructions, which was very well explained, it'll go pretty well for you. It did for me. So these JCR rock slides have been really good investment. And like I said, I made a video in the past about cutting the fenders on the front. So, I mean, if you're not sure about how to do that, just refer to that video on my channel here. And I did cut the rear fenders here as well, because I put the 35s on, and every time I would hit a bump of significance, it would rub. So I went ahead and cut it. And how you cut the rear fenders is you take all the trim off, and then there's pinch welds ever so often around the fender well, because this is a unibody. Don't just cut those pinch welds off, because then your unibody here is going to separate, and then you'll get all kinds of moisture and mud in there, and it'll rust out before you know it. So what I did was, you make vertical slices, and it's what they call a cut and fold, I believe is the terminology for it. But you make slices, and then you slice on either side of each of the pinch welds. And then once you slice it, you put some spray paint on it to keep that from rusting. And then you fold it over with a hammer and just tap it over. And then it's finished at that point. I mean, it's not a very hard job. So, and this trim here is just some automotive 3M trim that I ordered online. This is just a temporary fix because I'm gonna get some fender flares, and when I install those, I intend to make a video to demonstrate how that's done as well. But also I have some 2-inch leaf spring hangers that I'm gonna put on here to raise the back a couple of inches, and then I also have some adjustable bump stops I'm going to install here, and then I can adjust the front end up too and add a couple inches to it, because even with the fenders trimmed, I haven't taken it off road since I've put the 35s on it, for more reasons than this, but I'm afraid it might still rub whenever it gets into a flex. And also I got to change my gears, because the gears that are in it are I think they're 356 from the factory. I might be wrong on that. If I am, put a comment down there and let me know. It's got the high pinion Dana 30 in the front, and I've got the Chrysler 8.25 from the factory. I think most of these came out with that. I think there was an option for the XJs in certain year ranges where it came with a Dana 44, and some of them had the Dana 30. And if you plan on wheeling it or putting any size tires on one with the Dana 30, replace it. You can still get a hold of the Chrysler 8 1/4. They put those in the Liberties. You can get those at a junkyards. Those are pretty. I think that you could source those pretty good too. Dana 44s, they're getting harder to find because that's what a lot of people do. They go to the junkyards, they buy them, they put them under these Jeeps that came with the Dana 30s. So that's another option. That's probably a better option. Some people say that the 8 1/4 is comparable to the Dana 44. I would say they're close, but I'm happy with it with the 8 1/4 under it. And but anyway, I got the fender armor that came with my Smittybilt tire carrier here, and I haven't installed that yet because I knew I was going to cut the fenders and they overhang. So now I have to cut the that body armor pieces so that they'll fit, and then I'll attach them with some pop rivets, and so that it'll finish that look. And I do intend on getting body armor for the rear here and then on the front fenders down there as well. So this is my Smittybilt tire carrier. The rear bumper, the old bumper, it's especially if it's been in the Rust Belt area, you know, where there's a lot of snow and ice, and they use a lot of salt to treat that stuff. You're going to have rusted bolts, and it's just that this one wasn't in that condition because we had it garage kept most all of its life. But I have seen where people would have to just cut bolts off and weld nuts on them, and then so that they could actually crank those studs out of there, and also welding a nut on it gets it heated up, which also helps to break it loose. But this Smittybilt tire carrier is outstanding. It's very well built. It's the instructions were self-explanatory too. I installed this myself. It is heavy, so you're probably going to need some help lifting it up, putting it in place. But once you get the old bumper off, it's pretty easy. There's some stabilizer metal pieces that slide into the unibody where the old tow package would go in, and it's got flag nuts, I believe, if I remember correctly, to go in there, and you could bolt all that down, which gives it more support because this is a heavy bumper in the rear. But it's a really, really, really good bumper. I like it. It's heavy duty. I've had no problems with it whatsoever, and I think it looks pretty cool too. And then other than that, I put some hood vents in. And I'm not doing that because I had any heating or overheating issues. When I had overheating issues, I just replaced everything in it. I replaced the radiator, the water pump, everything that had to do with the cooling system, all the hoses, the thermostat, whole 9 yards. I just replaced everything in it. And because I was having really bad efficiency issues on the cooling system, and it fixed it. And I flushed the engine block out before I put any antifreeze back in it. But this is the Highline, I believe, is the name of the vents, and there's several different types of vents you can get. The instructions in it was real self-explanatory. There's several bolts. They give you a template to put down. You can mark all your stuff, and then you can drill all the holes and then cut out the bigger holes for ventilation. And one of the main reasons that I got this, I don't know if it's been scientifically demonstrated, but these 4.0s have an issue with vapor lock because the fuel rail is right over the intake manifold, and it gets pretty hot under there. And a lot of times the heat will just cause vapor lock in your fuel rail, and then it'll cause them to stall, and then you have a hard time starting it up till it cools down. And I've just through anecdotal experiences, I've had people tell me, another guy of mine has a white one like this. He put vents in, and he said he's rarely ever had any vapor lock issues since he did that. But then he also did a heat wrap around his fuel rack too, so it might help. That's just another idea to throw out there. But I just wanted to give you all an update on this. I'm going to do more work to it. Like I said, I've got the gears in here. I bought some old axles that somebody had put 488 gears in. That's 8 1/4, and then I've got the high pinion Dana 30 up there. So I'm still trying to determine what would be the best route, if I should just take the gears out of these and just put them in the gears or in the axles that are on the Jeep now? Or would it be a simpler, cheaper process to build those housings with the gears in it, put lockers in it, and then just swap the axles out? I haven't made a determination yet. I'm gonna consult with some people I know that are in the industry that build rock crawlers and stuff like that. But whenever I go through that process, I will let you all know and make another video. So until next time, if you like this video, please hit the like button, please subscribe, and I will do my best to make more content. You all have a good day. Thanks.